Right, all right.
All righty.
What's up, gentlemen?
Photo Booth Talk Show.
Woo!
Take one. This is the pilot.
Yes, sir.
Episode 1. My name is John. This is Ray.
Carlos.
How's it going, y'all? My name is Arthur.
Right on. We're all from, obviously, RevoSpin here, along with Carlos and Arthur being a photo booth owner and business owner himself, with GC Photo Booths and along with other small businesses. We're starting this podcast really quickly to introduce ourselves and how we're trying to start about the Photo Booth Talk Show. Hopefully interview a few business owners, like-minded like us, and as well as some entrepreneurs, photographers, wedding coordinators, DJs as well.
Yep, and everything in between.
Yep.
I suppose we can start off with some introduction. We'll start off with Arthur, Mr. Arthur Cole.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me here, guys. RevoSpin in the house with GC Photo Booth.
Right on.
And my name's Arthur again, GC Photo Booth. We started up about 10 years ago, and we've just been doing photo booths ever since. And I think in around 2016 is when I met Ray and also that one other guy. I forgot his name. Don?
Don.
Right. I met him at the Photo Booth Expo, and they were just right down the street from us in Chino. So, came by the office, the warehouse, and saw all of the T11s and the T12s and things like that, and that's when the relationship began.
Awesome.
Cool.
Nice.
Next we have
Carlos
Carlos.
Velasco.
What's going on, guys? I'm Carlos. I've been working with John and Ray for, 10 plus years. I mean, I've seen the photo booth game change from big, bulky road cases to what it is now. Everything I learned as far as business-wise or sales was all through photo booths and through Ray and John here.
Right on.
Right on, man. Go ahead, Mr. John. Kayab.
Sir. My name's John Kayabyab, one of the owners as well with RevoSpin and MRKJ Inc. That's our DBA, or rather our incorporation name, that owns a few small businesses as well, like RevoSpin, Top Lighting USA, which works with the LED dance floors, Fire Booth that focuses on a lot of photo booths as well, and Boothify that also focuses on photo booths and other shells, and of course RevoSpin that focuses a lot on 360 booths, enclosures, and everything in between that, and as well as portable mirror booth, which of course we focus on mirror style photo booths. We got into this business, I'd say 2008, as far as maybe the first photo booth we started making back in Pomona. Oh man, those were days for sure.
They were.
Beginning that, we were like, getting into it just barely. A few customers, hey, I want to put this camera in a whole box with a monitor in the bottom. I'm like, oh man, this is something. And then it just blew up to what it is now. And thankfully, humbly, and fortunately, we're here where we're at now, where we're able to offer all sorts of different photo booths for the photo booth business owners and our customers, of course. And hopefully bring in more different new products that can help the business and help the photo booth game level up even more and more for years to come, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And I am Ray Borja. I am part owner of the RevoSpin. Got in the game back in 2008. Started off as a road case manufacturer back in the days in the year 1999, all the way to 2008. From that point, that's when we really we discovered the photo booth industry and started manufacturing. And since then, we've evolved from the wooden type of photo booth, like John mentioned, to a much more modernized type of photo booth. So and here we are. We're now at the digital era of the photo booth sector of the market.
Yeah,
it's definitely changed a lot since.
Definitely has.
Arthur, what was the first photo booth you had?
The good old tripod, put
Right.
a camera on a tripod,
Right.
and
External
have a
monitor,
hanging
right?
from a hanger.
How was that though when you were renting it? How was that? I mean, did you get a lot of customers that says, "Is this it?" Uh, what was the reaction when you were renting those?
The funny thing about that is, no, every time we went out with that, I always felt a little bit embarrassed because it's really just a tripod, a camera.
Real homemade, real
you know,
DIY.
it's DIY all the way. But I think where we excelled is we had we really dialed in our quality. So, you know, when we showed the clients our quality and the lighting was good, like I think that was what they focused on. So they never said anything to us, and we never saw any negative reviews about it. But, you know, the moment we came across you guys with the T11s and the T12s, that's when the game really changed for us, because we thought, okay, we can get something that's actually sleek, nice. We can go out there and feel proud of, you know, showing up with
right, projected a different image for sure.
Exactly. Right.
And then the convenience too. It's so simple, compact. You can put it into a Honda Civic, a Corolla. Yeah.
But you guys never had any issues renting them out. You know, people are paying the top dollars to get you guys out there into their events. I mean, I've always said to a lot of customers who bought photo booths from us that the equipment can only get you so far. The rest you will have to do. It is
For
an
sure.
image that you have to project. It is the service that you have to provide, and you really have to excel above everyone else. You know, you have to be different, not in the equipment per se, but your service. And ultimately, for someone like me who is probably renting your service, that's more important than the equipment that you're going to bring to my party. I mean, obviously that's important, but I don't even know what kind of equipment you're bringing, you know. But what I do
true.
know is you're bringing yourself.
For sure. At the end of the day, it's the finished product that you provide to your clients
Yeah.
and your customers, right? The service is one that Ray pointed out. You know, as long as you're there interacting with the people there, making sure they're taken care of as far as each session of the photo booths, the prints are high quality, the pictures are high quality, the event itself, you know, you make it fun for everybody that's there. That's all I think that matters. Whether it's you have a T11, a T12, whether it's a mirror booth, a 360, or a DIY style photo booth that we all pretty much started with, you know, it's the product and the service you provide at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. It's the experience that you bring. You
Yeah.
know, making it. It's like me when I do events. Like a lot of people, they're like, "What I do? I'm not sure." And I'm like, "Well, half the thing is looking good. You already got that down." And then you know, it kind of just loosens them up. They kind of laugh, and they're like, "Okay, cool." So it takes them off that edge of like,
Right.
I don't know what this is, you know. So I just do a lot. I give a lot of humor, and like, you know, I'm just super talkative with the people, and then it just keeps them coming back. And then next thing you know, it becomes the highlight of the event. Everyone wants to be at the photo booth or the 360.
Right.
You really have to sell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
From my experience when I used to rent photo booth, you know, I was telling Arthur earlier, I wasn't the most organized person in the world. You know, those have always been my challenges, you know, in the business. And I remember my rental business, you know, it's in my side of the business, which is Chino. Back then we were located in Chino and we were renting photo booth. I feel like we dominated that market. You know, we had a lot of strategy on how to get the leads. I remember during that time there was a platform called what was it? You could sell your events in their platform, and then people bought it.
Was it Groupon?
It's Groupon.
Groupon.
Yeah.
Groupon was huge.
There
back
was
then.
huge, and then
Man,
there was
I totally
another
forgot
one.
about Groupon.
There was another one. There's Groupon, and then there's one that came in before Groupon.
Man.
I know for the wedding industry there was Thumbtack.
Yeah,
You guys ever heard of that? Thumbtack?
Yeah.
It's like you put your business up there, and then obviously the groom or the bride will go ahead and search you on there, search for photo booth service or
Yeah.
DJ service, whatever you're offering, and then you know you'll come up there close to them. It's like almost like a Yelp, just for
Exactly.
services.
Yeah.
I used to be on Thumbtack.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was before Yelp. There was another one before Groupon, but it's very similar to Groupon. You know, you got Groupon and this other thing. They were the first one. It's like Uber and Lyft, you know, except
Yeah.
Uber would be this first one that I can't remember, and Lyft was Groupon. You know what I mean? And as you can see, you know, they were overtaken by Groupon. And I remember coming to them and advertising with them. And the way it works is, I can sell X amount of service, events of my photo booth to them at a certain price. So the first thing they did was they made sure my website pricing changed. So if I was renting a photo booth for $400 an hour, I had to take that up to $800 an hour on my website. And the reason
Right.
why is because the event that they're selling into their platform had a cap of $800 per hour, minimum of 2 or 3 hours, and I can sell X amount of events. So there's a cap. They'll tell me, okay, how many events do you want to sell, and there were time when I says I only want to sell 20 events, because that's the most I can do. But the reality was I wanted to do as many events as I could, so I put in there in a fine print. Must call to confirm the date that is available. And it was kind of cool because I guess that's the part where they didn't think of that loophole. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like everything has a loophole.
Yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
found a loophole where I can kind of manipulate the system in a sense where I win, you lose,
Yeah.
because the deal was whatever I rent, they take half.
Yeah, but they call you, so then now you're doing the deal outside of their platform.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, that event that date is booked, it's taken. However, we do have an affiliate that can probably fulfill your needs. I'll have them call you right now, and I tap my girl next to me. It's like, here's the number, call. You know what I mean? And it's so weird because our calendar was fully booked. You know what I mean? And I remember raking in, gosh, man, 25,000 to 30,000 in cash. In cash, we're talking in cash every weekend. And I remember taking pictures of those. We had how many people? There's a lot of us, man.
Wow. Wait,
And
so that was the loophole for Groupon, you're saying? So instead of booking you through the Groupon app, they
Right.
called you directly because they need to see the dates available.
Right.
yes,
Exactly.
and the way it stops is the minute it's filled. The minute the required is filled, the ad stops. You know what I mean? So it never gets filled
Right.
because I'm
Sure.
always turning it down. So for months
Exactly.
and months, it just kept going. So I had that platform, but I was also on Craigslist. I was also on all the platforms.
Mhm.
So the calendar, it was a non-stop thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if even during that time, nobody really knew what photo booth was all about. I mean, hell, dude, our rate was like $500 per hour. You can't even rent $500 per hour nowadays.
Yeah.
But during that time, that was really low because there were people that was renting at $800 to $1,000 per hour.
Yeah.
And I remember renting photo booths for $1,000 an hour, and there were people paying it. The way I see it, bro, it's like you pitch it to 10 people. There's always going to be one individual that's going to say, I can see the value.
Yeah.
I want you in my wedding. I can do 2 hours. That's $2,000.
Right.
So there were a lot of those mixtures, but in that area, there was no room for anybody to come in because I had all my guys running around renting, and it all comes down to what I was talking about earlier. You do have to sell yourself. It's not
Yeah.
about the equipment because the equipment that I was bringing in there were I gotta be honest. That they're half-ass. You know what I mean? It wasn't fully there, and our service wasn't really up to par. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta say that, our service during that time, it wasn't the best, but it was good enough. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was almost like it wasn't perfect.
No, yeah, for sure.
As a business owner, you want everything to be perfect, but at that point, it wasn't really perfect. There wasn't much you can do.
Yeah.
You were actually, I feel like I was in the dark and trying to find my way in there.
But I feel like that's what made you so successful. Because, like, when I came on board, it's like back what we were talking about earlier. It's like my first day, you're like, all right, man, you're going to have to learn how this software works, which is Darkroom. And then I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, so what's the basics? And you're like, I don't know. You have
Yeah.
to learn
Yeah.
it.
It was a lot of trial and error. We failed a lot, and then
It was just an experience that
Yeah.
propelled you. You know,
But it-
was
Yeah.
And it was just
left
like
and right.
a crazy thing because I came from, like, before working with you guys, I was working at Target. So when I started working with you guys, it was just like a weird thing because it's like I could see you guys trying to, like, oh man, what
It's
do we have to
unorthodox,
do, you know?
right.
And then I started seeing, like, oh shit, I'm part of something that's like
Growing, yeah,
you
for
know, it's
sure.
something that's like fresh off the, like, I'm at the ground level of it. I'm seeing, and I learned so much. And then like you said, you would do a lot of stuff where you're like, yeah, we could get it done, and then you hang up the phone. You're like, yo, where could we find one of these?
Yeah.
Right.
I always had that attitude, bro. Like, I never say no to business. Anything you give me, as long as it revolves to money, I'll find a way to do it.
Yeah, Carlos
You know?
has seen us from the very bottom, leveling up year after year after year to where we're at now, being fortunate to the level we're at where we could offer all that we can through our business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it just goes for what Ray was showing. It's just humble beginnings for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all about the failures that you have to go through. I believe that throughout those failures you can learn a lot and you can improve a lot. I mean, we're basically a walking, talking proof of those failures that had improved a lot. I mean, it's, in I'm no longer really renting photo booths. I mean, obviously, if there's somebody there that's willing to pay me $1,000 an hour, I'll still rent it. But we don't really focus on rentals. Our game now is selling this photo booth so people can rent them just the way we were doing it. But even then, we've had some improvements, a lot of improvements along the way. We're no different from a lot of the companies out there who develops a product and improve along the way with their products. It doesn't make us a bad company, because a lot of these companies isn't bad. So we develop a product that, 5-6 months later we'll find a better way to improve on it, and it's better than the original design. And a lot of the times people will come to me and they'll say, oh man, I wish I would have bought that instead of this, and I always tell them, I go, look, throughout that 5 months that you didn't get to see the new design, and you were stuck with a lesser, prettier, less prettier design, you already made money within that 5 months. So when you're saying that you wish you bought it when we made it, I said, would you exchange that, for the money that you made during that time? I said, how about if I do this? You tell me how much money you made within that time frame, within that 5 months. I take all that money and I give you the new design. Which one would you prefer? And a lot of the times they'll go, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I said, look, nobody's perfect. We evolve and we improve, and in our life, we always improve. I mean, last year, if you take a look at yourself and you compare it to where you are now, I'm pretty sure you have scaled and you have improved a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that applies to just everything, not just photo booths. Like, if you're gonna start a business, a lot of people, they're like, yeah, I'm not, like a podcast, you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it because I don't have a new computer yet. But it's like, well, just use the computer you have already. Like,
Right.
it's just
Work with
really,
what you got.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people do, is they want to get into like a photo booth, but they're like, oh, I just want to buy that top one. Like, it's like me, I still have one of the very first T11s, and I'm going out there
Still
getting booked with it still,
Yeah,
Yeah,
my T11's all tore up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
With the pole still.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pole that goes
That
up.
little, yeah. And yeah, man, doesn't have a tilt, and I just touch it up with some spray paint when it gets scuffed up, and it's still making me good money. I don't charge any. Like, I just bought another T12. I rent them out at the same rate. People just pay for my actual service. Like.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You really do sell your service. It's not about the equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of service, I mean, I know Arthur. I know you've been fairly successful as far as how many events you were booking back then, pre-pandemic at least, right?
Yeah.
I know you were. I know Ray mentioned a few times. He's like, he's had a lot of events before. Like, you throw us some numbers. What was just some of your best numbers in a year?
We did about 600 events.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just impressive. 600 events. You multiply that.
That's like doing 2 a day
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a whole year.
Did you have a team with you?
We had a whole team.
That's
and-
good.
Yeah,
How many
no,
photo booths?
I think we had 12.
Wow.
Wow.
See, that's one of the more impressive, system, or more impressive team you got there. 12 photo booths, 600 plus events. That's impressive for sure.
Yeah, no, it was great, but it was also, like, back then we were just like, all right, let's book, no matter what. which was, I mean, some weekends, yeah, I think we had like 30 events in one weekend.
Wow.
Which was a lot
Nice.
for us, and we were always being stretched to the very, till we had nothing left. I think our breaking point though did come because we did rent out a space over here, and we got robbed.
Wow.
Oh,
Damn.
shit.
And that was heartbreaking. We lost a
Yeah.
bunch of the stuff that we bought from you guys. We also had an Infinite back in the day that we bought from a Photo Party Upload.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
like $12,000 or something
Wow.
like that.
Um,
So that really set us back a lot. I think after that, I was like, you know what? Maybe don't go down this route of just trying to book anymore. Like maybe be more selective. And that was one of our growing pains.
Right.
So
or
we-
maybe
oh.
or maybe put a big ass lock on your door
Yeah,
and
yeah,
an
yeah.
alarm.
Pretty-
Some insurance.
And maybe let a big Doberman dog loose inside,
I know, right? Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's heartbreaking though. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine that.
Yeah, I've heard stories of that, like customers getting their vans stolen, getting
Yeah.
their warehouses broken into, or their garages broken into. That's just wild too. That's like a whole other subject that just straight up just sucks. You're here
Yeah.
trying to make a living for yourself, trying to run a business,
Right,
and that happens for sure.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
That's one thing too that I've learned the hard way. I had one of my attendants. He was like tired from the event. It ended like at 2 a.m. He got home. It was like 3, and he decided to leave the booth in his car. Fortunately, they didn't open the trunk. They only got in the back seat, but they took the printer, which is like the most expensive.
That's
expensive
like, that's
piece.
like the heart of the photo booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I learned. I was like, yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
just make sure you put everything away properly, because just those
Yeah.
little things where you're like, it's just one time. That's the one time.
That's that one time.
You
Okay.
can't leave it overnight. You just can't leave it overnight.
It's a mistake that you have to
Yeah.
learn from. Again, it all comes down to making the mistakes and learning from it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you should give up on the whole thing.
Exactly. It's just a learning curve.
Uh, I look at it this way. If you fail, but you knew you made money on it, there's a chance you're going to make 3 or 4 times more if you do it right.
Right.
So a lot
Learn
of
from
people,
it.
they
Yeah.
bail out on that, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I can't do this. It's too much. It's too hard." But the reality is, I always say, in life, you gotta look at where your revenues and where your money is coming from, and you do double down on that, because it worked.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of making it work in a 10 times fold.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I bought another photo booth, because I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? That's making me good money. I'm like,
Multiply it.
Yeah.
I'm turning down events. I'm like, why am I turning them down? I could just buy another booth
Mhm.
and just be making that money.
Yeah, I believe that.
Do you guys still rent out photo booths? Like, I mean, for photo booth owners, like, hey, I need an extra booth. Can I rent it for $150?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we,
We
we,
still
do that.
do
We
do
do
that.
that
Yeah.
to a few of our local customers. I always tell them, hey, don't turn down if you got something. Don't turn it down. Give me a holler if I have an extra booth laying around or an extra 360 booth laying around. Come by. I'll let you borrow. I'll let you rent it for me for X amount or small amount.
I love
And
that.
at least they're
Yeah.
able to cater to their customers and extra income for them as well.
I remember that was the business model back then. with
Yeah.
BB
Yeah.
365.
We did that for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
Photo Booth
that was the first
365,
time
yeah.
that
Yeah.
being with Ray and his white Honda Civic, and he's like, we're going to franchise this thing.
Yeah.
Sony's going to buy us out for like 10 million. He's like,
That
you're
was
going to
the
be a
dream.
millionaire, Carlos. I was like, shit, man. Like, I would
Sign
be
me
so
up.
pumped. Like, yeah, man.
I heard that same pitch, man.
Yeah, we're trying, like, Ray was trying to find investors and stuff. And I
was-
was like, man, we're going to do this for real. And
It was all about the domination game for me. I mean, if you get into the business just to stay alive, chances are you wait a few more days, few more weeks, few more months, you're really not gonna stay alive. My advice is never get into a business where you just want to be comfortable, because it's not real. You never
Yeah.
get comfortable in a business, because the minute you get comfortable, somebody's gonna take that business away from
Right.
you.
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
believe in
Yeah.
that for sure. You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You
For
gotta,
sure.
Love that.
You got to always make the next move.
Mhm.
Always think about the next move and
Yeah.
work on your business.
If you can focus on just dominating your market, that is enough for you to never stop thinking.
For
and
sure.
and yeah, there's pros and cons into it, but I prefer that kind of stress over anything else.
Yeah.
The stress of how to grow your business, the stress of how to dominate the market. Those are the good kind of stress, because it keeps you alert.
Yeah, definitely. I'll admit that a lot of times I'm just like, dude, you know what? I just want to get my photo booth business to a certain point, and just leave it. And I have this idea that like, okay, I can just leave it and it'll maintain itself. But no, it's like if you're not growing, you're going backwards, right?
Yeah.
You're dying.
Somebody's gonna take it.
Yeah. That's why you gotta duplicate yourself.
Yeah, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to take risks. Don't be scared of opportunity. It'll always come around. Try to calculate the right moves. You'll make mistakes along the way, but that's all right because the faster you make those mistakes, the faster you are to get to success. In my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ideas comes in many different forms. A lot of my ideas, comes when I'm in the shower or when I'm in a treadmill. It may be different for you guys, but ideas do come in, and I believe that you gotta keep getting those ideas in order for you to dominate your market. The more you think about it, the more you get those ideas, and the more you perfect, your market.
Right.
Sure, yeah. I feel like you guys did that with the photo booth, and I feel like you guys have tried to come at it in every possible angle possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just step back, and then you're like, all right, let's try this.
We have a basic understanding on how we were gonna dominate the market. Obviously, there's a lot of trial and error along the way.
Yeah, there was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of
Yeah.
mistakes that we made. Like you said, trial and error, always, just like in any business. And then we took the good from what we experienced and left the bad out, and learned from it, and then excelled and excelled and excelled, and just applied it.
Yeah.
To any new ideas we had, whether it was the 360 or the photo booth or the mirror booths, we always applied the best out of all the experience we had, and just move forward with it and try to offer that to our customers left and right.
Yeah. For years, we stayed relevant in the business. For how many years? We just, we stayed relevant. We tried to dominate the market, but we became relevant instead of dominating that market. But we figured out a way to just, to just stay relevant and to stay dominant in the market. And that's really networking. I don't believe in one person building and dominating the market. I believe that it takes a lot of smart people to dominate the market. And I really believe that. I really believe that one person can't do it alone.
Gotta have a good team.
You gotta have a good
people
team.
you trust.
For sure.
Gotta have people that you can argue with in a good sense of like, hey, let's
Exactly.
do this instead. Let's try that instead. A teamwork that helps you excel to a higher point that you can help your business throughout.
Every business, every successful business out there, I can guarantee you, I'll bet my left nut that they had a lot of debates,
Oh, for
For
sure.
a lot of brainstorming, and
I mean, shoot.
regardless,
In the office before we went here, we were already debating a few things, but that's just how business is with your business partners that you trust and you work with on a day-to-day basis.
that's how you grow. You'll always have one or two of the individual partners who are not grasping the whole entire concept. But the more you talk about it and the more you argue about it, you better believe it. That individual will excel, and they're the one who's going to be debating it because they finally understand it. And once they understand it, they'll make a point, to really debate you and really challenge your thoughts. And ultimately, that's what we need to be looking for, is somebody that can challenge us and prove us wrong. Aren't we all trying to prove ourselves wrong? You know what I mean? When you believe in something so hard and so strong, prove me wrong otherwise, because this is the only way this is going to come true.
Yeah.
You can't think of everything,
For
So
sure.
someone has to challenge that idea, and somebody has to tell you that, what about this and what about that? Did you think about this and did you think about that? And these are the stuff that you got to sit at a corner when you can't answer that and just goes, you know what, he's right. I didn't think about that stuff. And at that very moment, you are refining that idea into something much more greater than what you expected it to be. There's always that tweak, that you got to tweak, but it can't be you that tweaks it. It's got to be within you and your people,
Yeah.
Damn, how do you find that? Like, do you guys have that together? Are you guys always debating and challenging each other and all that
100%. There's never
All
a
the time,
time
yeah.
that we don't argue about business. When we get together, it's always this motherfucker. Fuck this. There's always that. And it's just real talk, bro. It
It's just real
Yeah.
raw conversations between each other,
Yeah.
whether it's right or wrong. Actually, rather, there's nobody ever wrong.
Yeah.
You know, we always just apply each other's direction, and then we along the way we find which one works the best, and then we all agree in the long run. And then after that project's done, or whatever that conversation was, we move on to the next one. Let's see what else, what other challenges we got today or tomorrow or next week. You know.
Man, that sounds
It's-
amazing.
Yeah, it's a real raw connection. When you can really get passionate about a conversation in a brainstorming, is when everything comes out
Yeah.
raw. You know what I mean? It's like you see it in their face how passionate they are, and you really see how much they believe in it.
Yeah.
And you kind of just got a hold of that and says, what is it that it's? Why is this person so emotionally attached to this idea? And you know you just gotta be open minded and understand where this individual is coming from, and guarantee you'll see what he's seeing, and then you can debate along that. You know, you can
Yeah.
say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but did you think about this and that? And that's when you can get a reaction from them. It says, holy shit, I didn't think about that, but I did. See, I put myself into your shoes. I understand where you're coming from. When you didn't think about that, I did. How about we do it this way, and how about we do
Yeah.
it that way? And then the idea revolves into even further and further, you know?
Yeah, because I feel like you got to be in love with the idea, but you can't be too attached to it, because then that's how you get stuck looking at things, and then you're not standing back and seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because there's always, it like you guys have those conversations because maybe you guys are just like looking at this here, and then Mark's seeing it from this angle, and he's like, no, come over here, look, it makes sense this way, and then you're like, oh, okay, I
Right.
get it.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of that. and we always say we have to be fair with each other. And before we even started the company, I remember we made a pact. It says, guys, there's going to be a time when we're not going to be able to meet in mutual ground. So we have to vote it out.
Right.
And fortunately for us, we have never voted out anything yet.
Cool.
You know what I mean? It was always like we were always in sync. And the minute we find that solution, we find ourselves just laughing and giggling, you know? And it's fun because at the end of the day, it's like finding the right answer into a math equation that you've been banging your head trying to solve,
Yeah.
you know? And then somebody says, look at this, you didn't see this. And then you finally, all you guys get into this answer, and you're like, holy shit.
We did it.
Checkmate, bitch. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, that's it. That's what we need to do. You know, now let's execute. So
Yeah.
the next step would be executing the whole entire process. And I believe that's the fun part of having people around you, and you know, and you have to create a focus group. If you're the main owner of the company and you don't have a business partners, fine, I get it, you know, but create a focus group that you
Yeah.
can brainstorm along. But my take to that is, when you're a single business owner and you're trying to grow the business and you don't want a business partner, then yeah, you're brainstorming with other individuals, maybe your employees. That's it right there, though.
Yeah.
The employees are just gonna give you just enough of what you're paying them. You know what I mean? Just enough. It's never the right heart. It's never the right passion. And when that little arm of that arm clicks, it's like, see ya, peace. I hope, you know, I made you think, you know, and you know, I made some valid points, you know, brownie points for you, and I want to raise in 2 or 3 months. You know what I mean? You're not getting that raw brain power from them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That
Exactly.
love, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's, I feel like, my challenge for the past several years. I've been a single business owner, and I mean, even if you have a focus group, you're not really diving deep into the detail of things. So it's always just been me. Luckily now I have Adriel, and we do talk about stuff, but it's still like employer-employee mentality relationship where maybe he's just gonna agree with everything that I say.
You
Right.
gotta
You
find
know,
somebody to
it's like-
challenge you,
Yeah.
bro.
And
Yeah.
I'm always like, dude, no. Like, every time I share something, I want you to be in the habit or in the practice of challenging it, or
Yeah, that's
finding
good.
like the what's wrong with it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Be your
I
devil's
guess
advocate for
Yeah.
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
Link's turn. Yeah, for
just
sure.
trying to see like how I can create, or how other maybe single business owners like myself can create that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't. It's
You
like
gotta
difficult.
find somebody to challenge you. I love being challenged, and I love being look stupid. You know what I mean? Because the minute you make me look stupid, my next the next thought that comes to my mind is money. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we're gonna make
Yeah.
some fucking money.
And I think
You know what I mean?
I think you guys did a good job of doing that. Like when I was working with you guys, like you guys would always ask me for my input, and like I don't know, just like I feel like I could always tell you guys directly. Like if
Yeah.
we're talking about something about like RevoSpin, I'll just be like, nah, man, like customers are like coming across this issue. I don't think you guys are pointing it out accordingly, or like if we're in the Telegram chat, like, yo, what do you guys think about
Right.
how
Yeah.
we're promoting right now our sales pitch? And then like I'm always very vocal on, and I don't feel like I'm gonna get in trouble because they're the owners, or I feel very comfortable to just voice my opinion because I
That's
know you
good.
guys know that I actually care.
For sure, that's good too. Because I mean, you're one of those that's in the front lines of things.
Yeah.
You're there from the get go.
Yeah.
There from where we started to where we are now. I mean, you've always been one of the good sales reps that we've always had with us. It was
I wasn't
awesome
always
to-
good.
Yeah.
Well, it's always been
Yeah.
awesome to have you on our team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
To see you also learn from your mistakes, from our mistakes, and grow from it together.
Yeah,
As
sure.
a whole, as a team, as a company. I mean, you've seen it all. Yeah.
I make it a point to make sure you don't feel like you're just an employee. You know what
For
I mean?
sure, yeah.
And for me, it's like I'm always trying to get the raw footage from you. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So it's like in order for me to do that, I can't you having to say yes to me all the time. I need you to challenge me and challenge my thoughts and my ways of thinking.
Mhm.
If sometimes I'll go off the wall, and sometimes it's out of the ordinary. And yeah, man, I'm looking for reactions. How far are you gonna allow me to push you before you can react to me in a raw, in such a raw way where your brain is actually processing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I tend to do that into people, and the minute they just don't push back and they don't challenge me, it's when I just stop and I give up and I look for another individual that I can do that to, because you really gotta get that raw footage in people.
So
in my
so
opinion.
let me ask you guys this, as like now we have a lot of employees. So like with me, it was super easy because it was just me. So you guys were super
Right.
on top of it. Like there's a very open communication line because it was literally just us three in the
Yeah.
little shack.
Yeah.
So how does it feel now when you have so many employees?
Well, to be honest, I'd say a lot more stressful, but in a good way. I mean, it helps us grow to where
Oh,
we're
for
at
sure.
now. Without all the employees that we have now, we wouldn't be where we're at, for sure. I mean,
Definitely.
we owe all our success, obviously, to our customers that help support us, and two, to all of our employees that helps break a sweat, that helps rake in the sale, that helps the customers that are in need. We owe it to them as well. Our customers and our employees are definitely our top providers for us and for this company.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's stressful at times having so many different employees you're going to have to work with, different departments that you have to work with, and then obviously each department are going to have their own issues. That just goes to show with anything. Like if you're starting it small, you're going to have small little issues. But if you want to get bigger, you got to get ready for those bigger issues.
Yeah.
And it's just how you tackle it. And then I think we have a great team of owners, along with Ray, Kim, and Mark, that helps alleviate a lot of the stress and the responsibilities. We all take on a little piece of the action as far as responsibilities, and then we have a couple people that help us in the company that helps alleviate that stress as well. So and then by the time it gets to the guy that's shipping or the guys in the warehouse, it kind of the stress kind of alleviates there, and then it goes in circle again. Whether it's a new issue, whether it's a new direction that we want to take on and tackle, we work onto it as a team. I mean, it doesn't matter how many employees you got, as long as you work together as a team and kind of just work in a way where a process that kind of just works for everyone and works for the company itself. I think it'll be okay. I mean, there's times that are stressful for sure, but I think we're more fortunate to be where we're at.
For sure.
The stress is definitely there. In this,
It keeps
in a
you
grand-
alive.
Yeah, in a grand scale of what we're doing. I mean, how many companies out there in our sector of the industry that are doing $27 million a year in sales revenue? I don't know a lot. We're doing that, and when you reach a certain level of revenues into your company, certain levels of numbers that you're doing, you're going to have X amount of employees and you're going to have X amount of stress that's going to come across. For me, the challenges are there. You're going to have those challenges, but I don't look at it in a sense where it's, I look at it the same as we are a smaller company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I look at the top performers of those employees. I look at the employees that are special. You know, you're gonna have employees out there that are just there to make money, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna have employees that really sticks out
And that
actually-
embrace the company.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
those are, you know, my personality has always been, let's look from the inside and let's promote. You
Mhm.
know, let's
Yeah.
get this guy, let's get this guy more money. Let's give him a little bit more responsibility. Let's challenge him, because it's better to get somebody from the inside and help them and cultivate them and scale them mentally and make them into a professional where we want them to be, rather than finding somebody in the outside and a stranger who
Yeah.
you don't know who they are. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? You don't know whether you can trust them. You don't know if there's not much you know. So for me, it's like everything, you know, everything is kind of normal, just as the same as a regular company. You know, I don't see it as that size, but I do look at people who are top performers, and I look at that and I go, that's my guy right there. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you compensate them right. you
yeah,
know?
Yeah.
he's gonna make us money.
He'll make things easier for us and smoother for us within the company. You get that guy or girl, and you know, obviously compensate them correctly, and you know, build a team around that guy.
Yeah.
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 That works.
I think you guys do a good job of that, and then you guys also do a good job of interacting with everybody. I feel like at RevoSpin, I really feel like it's just a big family.
That's good.
It really
is.
feels that
And
way,
that's,
you know?
that's the way we want
That's
to
what
keep
we were
it.
aiming for,
Yeah.
100%. Like
Yeah.
I always tell the guys or all the employees we have, I'd hate for you guys to come into work and dreading it. Like, oh, I got to work with this guy, I got to work with this
Yeah.
girl. Like, no, like leave all personal stuff out the door.
Yeah.
Come in here, work as a family, as a team, and I mean, everybody that's stuck with us and stayed with us has grown and you know excelled with us throughout the company.
sure.
So
Yeah.
you know, we always like
the,
that.
the bigger the company gets, the harder the communications.
For sure.
Definitely.
There's always going to be some issues on that end. but
Exactly.
It's how we adapt to it for sure.
Which is one thing that I try to take upon myself. Like every time I go in there, like I know you guys can't physically be having a conversation with everybody because you guys got so much to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
But like when I get there, I make it my thing. Like I put everything on my desk and I go personally say what's up to everybody. You know,
Yeah.
just
Right.
you know, and then I could see like someone's having an off day. I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? Like,
Yeah.
you know, but I feel like
Common courtesy. you
yeah,
know,
just something like
get to know
that.
them.
Yeah.
And it speaks volume because
Yeah.
a lot of the guys out there, I mean, even Myra, like she'll you know have some time to talk to us sometimes. Like, hey, you know what, Carlos does help me with this all the time,
Yeah.
and you know we appreciate the company definitely appreciates it.
Yeah.
It appreciates you, everybody in the at the industry location at least. You know, they
Yeah,
all
for
know you.
sure.
They all know they can go to you if they have questions or if they need help.
Yeah.
How would you guys describe your company culture, and like how did you create that? What do you think?
I think it just kind of fell into places.
Yeah,
You
I'd
know?
say the pieces of the puzzle kind of just
They just trickled in.
it
huh?
just trickled in, right?
It can't just be random, right? Like obviously you guys are the leaders of the company, so your influence is there.
Right.
Oh yeah,
And
Sure.
Carlos
your
is
Yeah.
influence
also a
always
leader of
have
the
to be
company.
there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Basically, like, yeah, I mean, because last year, well, I stepped away for a while, and then Ray called me, and he's like, yo, man, like, you want to make some real money? Like, get over here. Walk out of your job where you're at right now.
Yeah, he
He
literally said
actually
that.
he
did.
literally told me that, so I was like, all right. I was like, I'm out of here.
He actually did. I told
And
him. I
then
go,
I come here, and then things were hectic. You know, it was just me and Jericho, right?
Right.
yeah,
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just us, and then we're like palletizing stuff, and I'm like on my AirPods, like doing sales calls, and I wasn't even supposed to be doing sales. I was just doing customer service, but the volume of sales were going so crazy that people were calling the
It's
customer
crazy.
service
Yeah.
line, and I was closing.
we were
sales,
doing
you know?
close to $3 million a month in sales.
Some
during
of
Yeah.
our
that
higher
time.
months, we were hitting 4 million, and that's
Yeah.
when it was just one hectic, but it was a good hectic. It was
Yeah.
a mess. It was a mess that we liked because we were like more than happy to clean that up. You
Yeah.
know, we'll take care of that. You know,
Yeah.
we made it work then, and then just going back to your question, the culture just came about just like more of a homie vibe,
Yeah.
a friend vibe, more of a I got your back vibe, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, bro, like take care of this. I got you on this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You scratch my back, I scratch your back, and it just grew from there. Like
Yeah.
it was never
Yeah,
more of a
like I've worked jobs when I was younger, and it's like some jobs that you get in there and you just feel like you're like, all right, man,
clock in, clock
go,
out, right?
go,
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
And then here, I feel like we always get to kind of know the people. You know, we make them feel comfortable, let them
Yeah.
know that they could be themselves. You know, like
Right.
You gotta
so-
let them loose. You
Yeah,
know what
you
I
know.
mean? Because we always say that the customers are always on the forefront. We're here because of our customers, but when you have a leash on somebody, and there's a certain ways that we expect them to act, they're kind of limited. You know what I mean? I feel like they're holding back in terms of how to take care of their customers into the limitations that we put upon them. So I believe that if our employees can be a little bit more comfortable and sees that, this is not just a business that they work for, but it's a business that they practically own, along with us, then it's a little bit more better, because then they care more. So they're a little bit more enthusiasm,
More personal to them,
and
for
more
sure.
personal, definitely more personal. And
Take more passion into it.
yeah. Yeah. What about you, man? I mean, we're talking about RevoSpin. How was your when you were growing into 12 photo booths? I mean, that's 12 attendance. What was your biggest challenge in there?
Well, just talking about like company culture and things like that, it was I never really knew, like, did I want to be very professional and make sure everyone's on time and like following a structure, or did I want to have it more of like a family environment and things like that? And it was just always hard for me. I never could really decide, like, how do you balance? I want to be cool with my employees. I want them to grow. I want to empower them. I want them to feel comfortable. But at the same time, you got to get to the event on time.
Right.
Yes.
Right? You can't be fucking up or, I don't know, like
Leaving
not
things
following the
behind at
protocol.
events.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a thin line there,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I mean,
It's
obviously,
a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
my
You
opinion,
gotta be in
those
the
are
middle of
double-edged.
that, middle of professional, and of
For
course
sure.
a homey vibe. It's just in the middle of that. I think you probably found yourself just naturally in that middle aspect. And obviously, with events, that's very important to the customers you provide service to. Promptness is number one for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if their event starts at 6 p.m.,
Be there
you
at
wanna
5
still
at least.
Be,
Yeah.
like setting up and it's 6:30 or something.
Oh
I
man,
think
yeah, that'd be the worst.
It's more of
Yeah.
finding the right people. In your case, in my opinion, at least, it's more of finding the right people. Let me ask you this question, though: would you rather have more profit and take those kind
That
of
one.
and
Yeah.
take those kind of
Yes.
risks, with those with those type of employees,
Uh-huh.
or would you take less profit and not have to dictate to an employee when the event is? They take the initiative to actually be there and do their events and love what they do. Which one would you rather have?
That's hard.
More
Yeah, I know.
profit
I'm thinking
or
about
less
that.
profit?
More profit.
More profit.
I think more
More-
profit, because then you could, when you got more profit, you could definitely kind of just create a structure. You have more access to more resources because of that extra profit. And then,
I take, for me, I would take the Jeff Bezos way. Fuck the profit. It's gonna come later. You know what I mean? I would look at it in a sense where, if I can scale better this way without my energy being invested, and the stress of having to feel like shit because this guy failed me,
yeah.
I'll pay for that. I will pay for that kind of ease, because I know that if I did that, it's me taking care of my attendant, and it's them saying, I am this.
Yeah.
This is who I am. I carry with pride, because they know that that's how they make a living.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can create that person to feel that way, and I'm still making a little bit of money, and I can multiply him by 100, I can now dominate the market with somebody that feels like they're my partners, and there's a lot of room for growth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
then I
definitely a
can take
different
that
way.
individual and send him to New York.
So you're saying you would pay this guy more
Yes,
for less problems?
for less
Pretty
problems.
much,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if it's
Yeah.
in front of you, you're going to take more profit. But if you're going to look through it to a telescope and look at the long run, well, I think I'd agree with Ray too. Like,
Yeah.
maybe take less profit, compensate the guy more so he cares a little bit more.
Yeah.
All you need him to do is just care and make sure it's taken care of while you're taking care of another client, or
It-
another client.
It depends, okay? Like for me, I would only take the other side where it's more profit if I know it's not sustainable. If it's a one-time deal or a
Okay.
two-time deal, or if it's a short term, you better believe it. I will squeeze as much profit as I could and take
Just-
it and run. You know what I mean? But I didn't get into the business to do that. So for
Exactly.
me, it's like, whenever I get into a business, I look at the longevity of that industry. Is it a baby industry? Can it really grow? What other things am I not seeing and other people are not seeing? Am I sitting on a gold mine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are a lot of questions that runs into my head. The next step is how I'm going to lay out the plan on how I'm going to execute it and really dominate the market. In order for you to scale and grow your business, you got to have a team. You can't
sure.
win an NBA team, an NBA game
With no
with
team.
just a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to pick the right players. You know what I mean?
Fucking
Yeah.
Warriors, man.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
that same thing is you got to find the right team in order for you
sure.
to win, So for me, it's like, are you my guy? I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to lose to experiment if you're my guy. Now, if you ain't my guy, I'm paying you and you're still the same, then you're not the right guy. I'll find someone else. I'll
Yeah.
find someone else that can really cherish this and really embrace it with me. Because if I can find that, I'll find another and another, and I can guarantee you, the business is gonna flourish all on its own.
So how long is that process before you decide, okay, are you the guy or not? Is that like a 3,
One time,
6 month?
One time, two times.
I think Ray just jumps into it.
I basically jump in. The way I do it is I have the man-to-man, one-on-one talk with them. You know what I mean? And I really let them gravitate into the whole concept, into the whole vision, and I leave them with a hope. Because fuck, man, all we have in life is hope. You know what I mean? You take away the hope, it's back to square one. We're zero. So I give them those hope to gravitate and hold on to. And if they can do it, then they'll make those sacrifices that I'm expecting them. So there's gonna be some times where you're gonna find people that's gonna gravitate to that hope, but you really can't see it. You know what I mean? So, you have a choice now. You either cultivate them and teach them, or you say, no, this is not the right guy. He just doesn't have it in him. So you got to make those hard choices, So for me, it's always looking for those right people. A lot of the people that are with me right now are my business partners, and we all come from the same background. It's the same thing in the industry that we're building, is you got to find the right people. They may not have a share of your business, but they're vested. They have a vested interest in you growing because they know their life is gonna scale if you grow.
Like Carlos.
Yes, like
I'm
Carlos.
living proof that.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times too, like people in the warehouse will be like, "Yo, do they take care of their employees?" I'm like, "I'm still here." Ain't I?"
Yeah. Carlos is a genuine. He's a genuine guy. You know what I mean? He's the
Yeah.
type of guy that, if he doesn't know it, he'll learn it. And I
Very
love that
much.
about him.
Yeah.
And I look back from the many years that I've met Carlos, and he wasn't a salesman back then,
At all.
the way he is now. So
Yeah.
he
Oh no,
understands.
now he's a natural for sure.
Yeah, he understands the game.
For sure, man. And I feel like, because when I parted ways from the photo booth industry for a while, I was like, I've been doing this my whole 20s. I want to try to do something else. And then literally everything that I learned from you guys was applied to everything else that I did. Like, every job I'd get, I'd always be like, why am I working at this
Yeah.
job? Like, they don't know what I know. They don't know what I could do. Like,
You just feel
Yeah.
superior to them. You feel smarter than them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, some companies that I work with, they'll be like, oh, okay, they understand the value that I'm trying to bring in. Some people are like, no, this is the structure. This is how it is. It's going to stay like this. It works. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, we're wasting a lot of time. But I mean, I never could do jobs. I would just, from the stuff I learned from you guys, I just figured out ways to make money all the time.
You have to understand the industry you're in. You have to understand the game you're in. You have to, to me, you have to understand it all, in order for you to make it in the industry. Circling back into the rental game, when we sell a product in RevoSpin, we have to connect. It's no difference in the rental game. If we're talking about selling your service, you have to connect with the people that you're talking to. You have to be able to understand where they're coming from. Every event has reasons why they're throwing those events. Every event has a certain individual that they're trying to impress. You can't say that this event is for everybody and I'm just trying to impress everybody. No, there's a
Mhm.
special person that you have to find and you got to
Yeah.
target. And you got to put a value in that event. You can't say that this event has this much value and they're going to go with it. No. You got to be able to sell the value, and you got to be able to find those individuals that are special for that event and the reasons why those events are being thrown. And once you do, you put a price tag, you put a value, you reevaluate it into the person's mind of what would it, how much would it cost, how what would it be worth for them to rent your service, to have that kind of special moment for this individual. So that's my belief, and it goes the same thing with what we do. We can't sell a product by not connecting with an individual and not understanding where they're coming from.
Yeah. I feel like that's the easiest way to sell, is to just connect with someone.
You have to.
A lot of times, like, my clients that, are like killing it, like David, Constant
Right.
Connect.
Yeah.
Like, when I met him, he was super excited. He's like, I rented one of these. I paid $800 an hour. And then I looked it up. I found you guys were like close to me. And then like he would just hit me up, like, and I would just talk to him about regular stuff, like
Yeah.
nothing related about the business. But, like, just from that, it created that connection where he's just super
You have to be able to
Into-
connect.
into the industry
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
you know?
he indulged it right
Yeah.
right away. He fell in love with the business, fell in love with providing a service. Yeah, David's a good guy, but he's making a name for himself as far as for the services that he's providing in the 360 world and the photo booth world. He owns both a few 360s and a Nimbus iPad booth, and he's killing the game.
Yeah.
His content on Instagram's great. His services that he provides is great. The prices that he offers is good. It's competitive, but it's not the lowest, but it's the service that you get from him
Yeah.
makes it worth it. And he really likes the business aspect of
Exactly.
it. It made him an entrepreneur overnight.
Yeah. Literally, he's not even been doing it a year, and he's like,
Right.
he already has 3 phones. It's like, who are you,
it's,
bro?
it's the way he connects with his customers.
Exactly. That's what I was
you know.
gonna say too. He has such a great energy to him
Yeah.
that, like, he's just super likable. He knows how to switch up his voice and start talking to you in a way, like,
Right,
he just
right.
really knows how to just,
He knows how to talk to each individual differently
Exactly.
in a certain way.
and he knows how to
Yeah.
zone in and
Yeah.
make it feel like they're the only person in that room at that
oh yeah,
time.
for sure. Yeah, that's David for sure.
And
That's
I feel like
important.
that's what's helped him blossom so far. Like today, my customer that came in today, they're like, yeah, I met this guy. This is his Instagram, and it was Constant Connects. I was like, oh yeah, that's. I sold him his first 360, and then he's like, yeah, man, he came to this party. His energy was so cool, so it made me want to come and invest in one.
Oh,
So,
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
It's how people connect with their customer. If for me, it's like if you're a photo booth owner and you can truly connect with your customers in that level, you will succeed. You will
Sure.
rent. There's a lot of people out there that does photo booth and they don't try to connect. They don't, right away they're giving out pricing, off the bat. When they get a lead, the first thing that comes out is, oh, here's my price,
Yeah.
I really believe that it takes time for you to, before you can give a price, why don't you take the time to get to know the customer?
Yeah. Ask him
And-
about the event.
Ask them about the event, what it is for, why is it important to them,
What do they expect
What do
out of
they-
the event?
what do they expect? If you were to put a price on this event, what are you willing to spend, for this event?
Exactly.
And then you give them your price. You say, hey, you know what? I'm not the lowest price in the market, but what I can do is fulfill the need that you're looking for exactly from what you were telling me. I can do it, but this is my price. And obviously the customer is going to negotiate, and that's fine. You gave it your price, and you're not lowballing. You're not racing down the
Yeah.
bottom price. You've taken the time to get to know the clients. You're giving them something to think about, because if it's just all about pricing for them, why go through the whole motion? Why not just take your phone and go in circle? You know what I mean? It's free. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's there's value. They put value, and you have to understand the value that they're putting. So if you can understand the value that they're putting for their events, perhaps you can put a price tag on it. And then
Yeah.
that's the price. That's the time when you can negotiate and says, hey, I'd be willing to do it at the price that you want. I get it that you're budgeting this for only $1,200 and my price tag is $2,000. Do me a favor though, before I say yes to what you're demanding. That's a guarantee. The minute you say yes to the $1,200, that's an automatic sale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So before I can commit and come down to my pricing to what you want, could you do me at least a favor? Because I'm giving you an $800 discount. Can you at least hook me up with a few of your family members that are probably
Yeah.
throwing a parties, or anybody? Just give out my cards. You know what I mean? That is a plus.
Yeah.
You know, so if you just take the time to really get to know the clients, you'll find yourself book
Yeah.
for the events. You won't have any booking issues, you know. But you do have to bring yourself out there. You do have to find that connection, you know.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
people are not willing to make that connection because a lot of the hiccups is they're shy. You know, they don't want to
Yeah.
put themselves out there. You know.
Mhm.
So it's like us right now. We're doing this podcast. You know, this is our first episode. You know, and
Yeah.
we're out here. We're trying. You know, we're
Yeah.
trying to get ourselves
Yeah.
out there. And I always say, what do we got to lose,
Yeah.
guys? You
Well,
know?
we had this vision of a podcast,
For a
you know,
long time.
evolving
time.
or revolving around the photo booth industry, 360 industry, all of the service industry, pretty much, and DJs alike, and of course entrepreneurs alike. So hopefully, we get some traction on this podcast, get a few more interviewees in here, get you guys some content that you guys don't mind watching and hearing. You know,
Yeah.
so hopefully in the long run you'll hear us at episode 100.
Yeah.
We
And
want to
then
bring in
it'll
the
be a whole
value.
different experience, you
For
know?
sure.
Yeah, we want to bring in the value that's going to help you guys. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, why we do this is because we feel that there is a need. There is a need to discuss certain topics that are questions in your mind. So by talking about it, this is again, it all comes down to brainstorming, and I believe that this is us brainstorming with you guys, letting you guys see and letting you see how it unfolds, you know, and how we evolve, you know, and hopefully that you can gravitate towards that concept and do it in your internal side of the business. You know, we'll bring in the people that is in the same boat as you. We'll bring in the people who have the experience. You know, we'll bring in raw footage. You know, and yeah, we want to challenge your mindset. We want to challenge your way of thinking, and we want to hear from you.
Right.
You know,
And if
Yeah.
you're
in terms of what
watching
you guys-
or if you're listening now, you know, feel free to comment down
Yeah.
in the comment section. Let us know what you guys, what topics you guys want us to
Exactly.
cover at our next episode, and so on and so forth. So, you know, we have a few different things that we can touch on that you guys are interested in as well. It doesn't have to be within the business. It could be something random. You know, we'll love to talk about it. You know, we'll have a group of people here that just, you know, talk raw, just whatever is in our head, whatever is going on a day-to-day basis, our week, how the week is going. You know, we'll try to do this 2-3 times a month, 4 times a month if we can. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
always ask yourself the question, what do you got to lose, right? I
Right.
mean, we're
Yeah.
doing this, and I ask the same thing. What do we got to lose? And I think you should be asking yourself the same thing
Yeah.
by listening in and tuning and watching the podcast. What do you got to lose? Is there more to gain? You know? So
There always is.
I always
Always.
say there's a reason why we do the things that we do. There's always a purpose.
Well,
And-
hopefully
and-
after every episode that we do, every podcast we do, every live stream or what we do, hopefully we leave you guys with something you guys
value.
benefit
Yeah.
from. Yeah, value,
Agree.
benefit from. And feel free to reach out to us. You know,
Yeah,
we're always at your
definitely.
guys' disposal as far as any questions in regards to business, in regards to purchasing maybe, or even just questions or advice towards business. You know, we're there for you guys.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And with that note,
I think
that's
that's a wrap for episode 1. Really quickly
We didn't
on
get
the-
Kim in here.
really quickly on the outro. Again, this is the newly acquired or newly set up Photo Booth Talk Show podcast.
Powered by RevoSpin.
Powered by RevoSpin. You know, it'll, for the most part, you'll always see myself, Ray, Carlos here and there, Kim in the background, maybe Mark, of course, our other partner in Vegas.
he
Hopefully,
needs to come down.
you know, I'm sure he'll find some time, come out here and introduce himself and chit chat with him a little bit. And of course, thank you again for our guest, Arthur.
Arthur.
we
Yeah.
Thank you for
appreciate
having
your
me,
time.
guys.
Thank you for your
Thank you for having
being a
me.
part of it, being a part of this start. You know, we're excited for this.
Glad to be here.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Signing out.
Peace.
Peace.